So you've been thinking about getting into the Airbnb game, right? For that passive income dream. But you also know it's risky. A lot of new hosts make these critical mistakes that can cost them thousands. Well, today, we're giving you the exact blueprint to sidestep all of that.
All right, here's the game plan. We're going to walk through the ultimate 5-step roadmap to take an Airbnb idea and turn it into a real, profitable business. We'll cover planning before you even think about buying, getting your property and money straight, crafting that killer listing, putting your operations on autopilot, and then the fun part, launching, optimizing, and scaling up. Okay, let's dive right in. Step 1. Plan before you purchase. And you might be wondering, why start here? Well, get this, a whopping 70% of your success is basically locked in long before you ever even buy a property. Seriously. You know, Emir Dukic from Rabu just hits the nail on the head here. He says, most first-time Airbnb investors skip the business planning phase and jump straight to property hunting. And that right there is the #1 trap. It's how so many promising ventures just fizzle out before they even get a chance.
So the pro move is to completely flip that script. It's not about finding a property you fall in love with. Nope. It's about finding a market that actually works. Successful investors aren't guessing based on where they had a nice vacation once. They validate everything with cold, hard data.
And here is your cheat sheet for finding one of those winning markets. You're looking for places with occupancy rates over 65%. You absolutely have to check for favorable local regulations, look for high average daily rates, or ADR, and clear signs of growth, like new attractions popping up or big companies moving to town.
Okay, so you found the market. How do you actually fund the deal? For investors, this is a total game changer, the DSCR loan. It's a kind of mortgage that qualifies you based on the property's projected income, not your personal W-2. If the numbers show the rental can pay for itself, specialized lenders will fund the deal, and that is a crucial tool for scaling up.
And the magic number you're shooting for is this one right here, 1.25. That's the target debt service coverage ratio that signals a really strong investment to lenders. All it means is the property's income is projected to be 25% higher than his mortgage payments. If you aim for this number, you're going to secure the best financing terms and build in a nice little safety cushion from day one.
All right, so you've secured the property. Nicely done. Now we're into part 2, and this is where the real work of setting your business up for success really begins.
And look, you have to treat this like a real business from day one. That means separating your finances immediately. Open a dedicated business bank account, then create sub-accounts for operating costs, reserves for big repairs, taxes, and of course your profit. Then just automate a percentage of each payout to go into the right bucket. Trust me, this prevents so many cash flow surprises and keeps your books clean.
When it comes to furnishing, there are 2 areas you absolutely positively cannot skimp on: the bed and the Wi-Fi. The data is crystal clear. Poor sleep and slow internet are the 2 fastest ways to get a devastatingly bad review.
This budget breakdown shows you exactly where to put your startup funds. For a typical 2 or 3 bedroom place, you're looking at about $15,000 to $35,000. And notice that biggest chunk, 30% goes right to mattresses and bedding. That's not an accident, that's a strategic investment in 5-star reviews.
But what's the single highest return on investment expense you'll have? It's not a fancy couch, it's not a hot tub, it's professional photography. Guests book with their eyes, and great photos can get you up to 3 times more inquiries than some amateur photos you snapped on your phone. Don't overlook this.
Okay, section 3. Now that the physical space is ready, let's craft the digital storefront that's going to attract your ideal guests. We're talking about your online listing.
Your title is the very first thing a guest sees, and the difference between a weak one and a strong one is staggering. Nice apartment in the city is so forgettable. People will just scroll right past it. But a title like luxury cabin, hot tub, game room, near skiing, that sells the experience. It includes the exact keywords that guests are actually searching for.
The same goes for your description. Don't just list facts. A winning description paints a picture of the stay. It answers the key questions up front, beds, parking. It highlights what makes your property unique, and it uses bullet points so it's easy to read. You're telling a story that helps the guest imagine themselves having an amazing time.
Now, for your launch strategy. This might sound a little counterintuitive, but you need to price your property about 10 to 15% below the market rate for your first 3 to 5 bookings. Why? Because your goal at the very beginning isn't maximum profit. It's getting those crucial first reviews that will boost you in Airbnb's search algorithm for the long haul.
All right, on to Section 4. Automate your operations. This is all about building systems so that your Airbnb doesn't completely take over your life.
This is your core tech stack, your operational hub. You need a property management software, or PMS, like Guesty or Hospitable. A dynamic pricing tool like PriceLabs. A smart lock for keyless entry is a must. And a noise monitoring device for security. These tools, when they work together, can automate 90% of the repetitive work, from scheduling cleanings to adjusting prices.
And this timeline shows one of the most powerful automations in action, the guest messaging flow. From an instant welcome the second they book, to check-in details a few days before arrival, a quick mid-stay check-in, and then checkout instructions, this whole automated sequence provides 5-star service without you ever having to touch your phone.
But remember, technology can't fix a leaky faucet or clean the bathroom. Your on-the-ground team, a reliable cleaner, and a go-to handyman is a critical part of your automated system. You need to build these relationships before you have an emergency.
Finally, Section 5. You've done all the prep work, your systems are running, now it's time to launch, optimize, and scale from one property to a full portfolio.
Hey, remember that launch pricing strategy we talked about? Here's why it is so critical. Your first 5 reviews have a massive, disproportionate impact on your long-term success. So you have to over-deliver for these initial guests. Go the extra mile with small touches, like a handwritten welcome note or some local snacks, to really lock in those high ratings.
Once your first property is a well-oiled machine, you can leverage that success into building a true portfolio. There are 3 main ways to scale. First, the traditional route. Buy more properties using your cash flow and those DSCR loans we talked about. Second is rental arbitrage, where you lease a property and then re-rent it on Airbnb. And third, co-hosting, where you manage properties for other owners for a percentage of the revenue.
So, by following this roadmap, you've turned a single property into a repeatable, automated system. The blueprint is right here. The only real question left is, where are you going to scale next? That next step is yours to take.